kinds of
class, I
Sure,
listen to all
sure.
kinds,
Yeah, yeah.
but it, you know, I'll put on Spotify and an 80s channel and just listen to that.
Nice.
Everybody watch the Heat
That's,
reenactment?
to me, that was the best decade of real music.
And the hockey games
Well,
also.
80s and
yeah,
very early.
because
Well, I
of
know
your
what time
age, I think it gets
Right,
you.
yeah, right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
4
yeah,
overtimes
yeah.
plus 3 regular
But I
periods.
have box sets of doo-wop I love.
The fourth overtime.
Barbara
was
Shop
in the
Quartet
in
I
the
listen to
19th
'cause I love
minute.
harmony. So
So
I
it was
listen.
like
I really
Yeah.
do
a few seconds
listen
shorter.
to everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's why
How
I
long
say
are
7.
the overtimes, 20 minutes?
Every period is 20 minutes, except during the season, the overtime's only 5 minutes.
Apparently, camera didn't work last week. Last week, oh, that's happened. Like it works up here, you think it's on, and
Yeah, apparently we were, the whole time it looked like that, apparently last week, so.
Did it work last night?
It worked last night.
It did.
It should have worked last
since
night.
you aren't connected,
Test.
this one may not work and that one can't work. But
Are they apologetic at least when you call them to?
Who?
Whoever you bought it from.
No, it's just
No.
finicky.
Yeah, it's a Wi-Fi thing.
It's a Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
I think it's on right now.
So it wasn't televised last night?
Last night was.
Oh.
Yeah, or just last week.
Last week here it wasn't. I'm gonna check it again right now. All right. One more time and we're gonna start.
Guess your bus was late. How's-
Well, you can see us.
That's good. So,
Hi, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. I just turned off. All right. Yeah. I don't know why. It's not there? No mouse? We're going to have a lovely Shabbat service. We're get to start a new book of the Torah this morning, which is exciting. And we'll be baby naming. So we're going to have a little baby naming probably just in the Torah service, but before our study. We'll probably do it. I asked them to come around 9 o'clock. So hopefully they'll be here around 9, and it'll be a lovely and very cute experience. We get to welcome Emmy into even though they're members, but officially into CBI. What's going on there? Not working?
just shut down, restarted or something.
Okay, great. All right, super.
Okay.
Super. So the computer's not working, but the good news, we don't need it for a little while. So we'll figure stuff out. Is that the new one? That's the new one. Oh, it's too long. I'll do it. I'll do the password in a minute. Yeah, it's too long. Okay. He's fine. He's fine.
Thank
Yes,
you.
it's very kind of you to have the
Thank
Rahmanis
you.
on him.
He has
It's
none.
zero, none,
Zero.
none. All right, let us begin our service. We are beginning with a little Modeh Ani, thanking God for taking care of our souls as we sleep. 170.
Modeh ani lefanecha, melech v'kayam, shechezarta binishmati bechemla, Rabba emunatecha, Modeh ani lefanecha, Melech v'kayam, שחזרת
בי נשמתי בחמלה.
בחמלה רבה אמונתך
רבה אמונתך
רבה אמונתך.
We continue with our Nisim B'chol Yom, our daily blessings and miracles, 175.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לשכל ובינה להבחין בין יום ובין לילה.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם פוקח עברים.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם מתיר אסורים.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם זוקף כפופים.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם רוקח הארץ על המים.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם המכין מצעדי גבר.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם מלביש הרומים.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם הנותן ליעב כוח.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם המעביר שינה מעיני ותנומה מעפעפי.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שעשני בצלם אלוהים.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שעשני בן חורים.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שעשני ישראל.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם עוזר ישראל בגבורה.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם עוטר ישראל בתפארה.
אמן.
180. Daily, yeah. Daily, and the Reform movement also changed it a little bit. Some of the paragraphs are Reform, so yeah, the more traditional ones have different little paragraphs actually. Some are the same, some are different. Shasani Israel is a little different. There's one that's Rosh Hashanah Isha. Yeah, the more traditional ones say, "Thank you for not making me a woman." That's what those say. So. Not good for the Reform movement to say that, probably. I think people will be upset about that, I feel like. So it was taken out. Yeah. Elu Devarim, 180.
אלו דברים שאין להם שיעור, אלו דברים שאין להם שיעור, אלו דברים שאין להם שיעור, ואלו הן. אלו דברים שאין להם שיעור, אלו דברים שאין להם שיעור, אלו דברים שאין להם שיעור, ואלו הם כיבוד אב ואם וגמילות חסדים והשכמת בית המדרש שחרית וערבית והכנסת אורחים וביקור חולים והכנסת כלה ולוויית המת. אלו דברים שאין להם שיעור, אלו דברים שאין להם שיעור, אלו דברים שאין להם שיעור, ואלו הן ועיון תפילה והבאת שלום בין אדם לחברו ותלמוד תורה כנגד כולם.
ותלמוד תורה כנגד כולם, 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 ותלמוד תורה כנגד כולם. Psukei Zimra, our section of Psalms this morning, 183.
Baruch she'amar v'haya ha'olam,
Baruch Hu,
Baruch Baruch Oseh V'Reshit.
Baruch Omer Ve'oseh.
Baruch Gozer Umkayem.
Baruch Merachem al haaretz.
Baruch Merachem al Habriot.
Baruch Meshalem Sachar Tov L'Reav.
Baruch Chayla V'Kayam L'Netzach.
Baruch Bodeh Matzil Baruch Shemo.
Blessed is the one who spoke and the world came to be.
Blessed is the one.
Blessed is the one who continually authors creation.
Blessed is the one whose word is deed.
Blessed is the one who decrees and fulfills.
Blessed is the one who's compassionate towards the world.
Blessed is the one who's compassionate towards all creatures.
Blessed is the one who roars irreverent.
Blessed is the one who exists for all time, ever enduring.
Blessed is the one who redeems and saves. Blessed is God's name.
Baruch atah Adonai, Melech mehulal batishbachot.
Brachot. We continue on page 192 in the middle of the page with Shochen Ad.
Shochen ad maharon v'kadosh shemo v'chatzu v'ranenu tzadikim Adonai laisharim navatehila befi sharim tzitalal v'divrei tzadikim tzitbarach ובלשון חסידים תתרומם, ובקרב קדושים תתקדש, ובמקלות רבבות, עמך בית ישראל, ברינה יתפאר, שמך מלכנו בכל דור ודור. ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו, האל המלך הגדול והקדוש בשמיים ובארץ, ברוך אתה אדוני, אל מלך גדול בתשבחות, אל ההודעות, אדון הנפלאות, הבוחר בשירי זמרה, מלך מלכי העולמים.
Chatzi Kaddish, 194.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה,
אמן.
ואלמד דברך חירותי וימליך מלכותי,
בחייכון וביומייכון,
ובחיי דכל בית ישראל,
בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב,
ויאמרו
אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם לא מהלמיה.
יתברך, יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתרסה, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה, מן כל ברכתה ושירתה.
תושבחתה ונחמתה, תמירן בעלמה, ואמרו Amen. Continue with our call to worship, Baruch Hu 195.
Lai la lai 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 lai
Lai la lai 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 lai.
lai la lai 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 la lai 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 lai
Lai la lai 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 lai.
lai la lai 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 lai
Lai la lai 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 lai. Lai la lai 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 lai.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch
Adonai
HaMevorach, HaMevorach,
Le'olam va'ed.
HaMevorach, HaMevorach, Le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yotzer or v'choshech, oseh shalom uvoreh et hakol. Please be seated. We continue with Ahava Rabbah on page 198.
Ahava Rabbah Haftanu Adonai Eloheinu Chemla Gedola v'Teracham Aleinu Ba'avur Avoteinu ve'imoteinu שבטחו בך,
שבטחו בך, ותלמדנו חוקי חיים. והערנו בתורתך, ודבק ליבנו במצוותיך.
ויחל לבבינו
לאהבה וליראה את שמך.
ולא נבוש ולא נקלם ולא ניכשל לעולם ועד, כי בשם קודשך הגדול והנורא בטחנו נגילה ונשמחה,
נגילה ונשמחה בישועתך.
ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה.
Page 200.
שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד, ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד.
201.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה
אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. 202.
ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם, ועשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם, ונתנו על ציצית הכנף תחיל תכלת. והיה לכם לציצית וריתם אותו, וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. Continue with our song of redemption, Mi Chamocha, page 204.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני,
מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה.
שירה חדשה שיבחו גאולים, לשמך על שפת הים, יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. צור ישראל קומה בעזרת ישראל, ובדי חינומך יהודה וישראל. גואלנו אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
We begin the Amidah now on page 205.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elokei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elokei Abraham, Elokei Yitzchak, Elokei Yaakov, Elokei Sarah, Elokei Rivka, Elokei Rachel, Elokei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor, Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekone Hakol, V'zocher Chastei Avot Ve'imahot, Umevii Geulah Lifnei Bneihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, צומח נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה. ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל.
We continue now with the Kedusha on page 208.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש קדוש קדוש, אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ, כבודו. אדיר אדירנו אדוני, אדוננו מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. הכנו אלוהינו, הוא אבינו מלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמם לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהיך ציון לדור ודור. הללויה. לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך.
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. ולנצח נצחים, ולנצח נצחים, קדושתך נקדיש. ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש, לא ימוש לעולם ועד. לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
We continue silently now, beginning here on page 210 through page 219. When you're finished, please be seated.
שים שלום טובה וברכה, חן וחסד ורחמים, עלינו ועל כל ישראל עמך. שים שלום טובה וברכה, חן וחסד ורחמים, עלינו ועל כל ישראל עמך. ברכנו יוצרנו כולנו כאחד באור פניך, כי באור פניך נתת לנו אדוני אלוהינו תורת חיים ואהבת חסד וצדקה וברכה ורחמים וחיים ושלום. שים שלום טובה וברכה, חן וחסד ורחמים, עלינו ועל כל ישראל עמך. שים שלום טובה וברכה, חן וחסד ורחמים, עלינו ועל כל ישראל עמך. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שים שלום טובה וברכה, חן וחסד ורחמים, עלינו ועל כל ישראל עמך. שים שלום טובה וברכה, חן וחסד ורחמים, עלינו ועל כל ישראל עמך.
We continue now with Seder Kriyat HaTorah, the service for reading the Torah on Shabbat morning, which can be found on page 244.
Ein kamocha va'elohim Adonai ve'en kema'asecha malchutecha malchut kol olamim u'memshaltecha bechol dor v'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Adonai yos le'amo yitein. Adonai yivarech et amo
Vashalom. Please stand.
Al harachamim heitiva v'tzoncha et Zion. Timneh chomot Yerushalayim ki bechol levad batachnu Melech Elam
Benisa Adon Olamim. 246.
Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, ki mitzion tetzei Torah, udvar Adonai Mirushalayim. Baruch Shenatan Torah Baruch Shenatan Torah Le'amo Yisrael B'Kidushato. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Gadol Shemo Gadlul Adonai iti Uneromema Shemo Yachdav Lecha Adonai Agedula Ve'agevura Ve'atiferet Ve'anetzach Ve'ahod Ki chol bashamayim uvaret, ki chol bashamayim uvaret lecha Adonai hamamlacha ve'amit na'aseh lechol rosh. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu Vehishtachavu Ladon raglav kadoshu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu Vehishtachavu lehar kodsho ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu.
Please be seated. We are in a very easily findable section of the Torah. It is a whole new book. We are in the book of Bamidbar, the book of Numbers. So that's it. Here's one of those times where you can go to Genesis if you want and go through Genesis, Exodus, and Leviticus and then get the Numbers. Or you can go from Deuteronomy and go backwards to Numbers, or just go to Numbers. All those are possibilities. It's just Numbers. Numbers 1. Bemidbar. It's nice. You can either go to Numbers or Bemidbar. They're the same. And you can go to verse 1. Or you can go to verse 1. Those are the same. Those are the same.
Or you can go to page 899.
You could, but then you would be on the different page that I'm on. It's that. But, I mean,
Majority.
it's a majority. It's true. It's Numbers 1. Or Bemidbar. See, some people say Bamidbar. I say Bemidbar, because it's really Bemidbar.
Yes, there is a shva there.
It's a shva there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's Bemidbar. In the desert, in the wilderness, there's a shva. I love the shva. Shva. You know the three forms of shva? Shvana, shvanach, and shva merachefet.
I didn't know Shema Baruch.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyone want to do the aliyah for us this morning?
The game doesn't start till tomorrow night.
That's right. So we have plenty of time to prepare for the anyone want to do the aliyah? Yes, we'll get it out there. The Heat are 2-0. Great. Now you feel better. It's true, and they're playing very well. There is not a special blessing for the Heat with the tourism, or the Panthers as well, which are it's amazing. It's good. All right, who's doing the aliyah? Oh, thank you. All right, come up. You guys usually do aliyah. Come on up. Okay. There's Reuven in here, I know. So Ta'amod. Leah bat Reuven, V'gitol la Torah.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Amarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim ve'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Vaydaber Adonai el Moshe b'midbar Sinai be'ohel moed b'echad lachodesh hasheni b'shana hashenit l'tzeita me'eretz Mitzrayim lemor se'u et rosh kol hadav b'nei Yisrael le'mishbechotam leveit avotam b'mispar shemot kol zachar legulgolotam mi ben esrim shana v'mala kol yotzei tzava b'Yisrael תפקדו אותם לצבאותם אתה ואהרון ואיתכם יהיו איש איש למטה איש ראש לבית אבותיו הוא.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet V'hayei olam natabech tohenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. We are going to raise and dress the Torah. So we're on page 252. Our crew is coming up. Our raise and dress crew, you coming up? All right, great. We're on page 252, and together we stand. 252.
וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ביד משה. תורה, 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 ציווה לנו משה. תורה, 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 ציווה לנו משה. Torah, 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 Torah tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Torah tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Torah tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe.
Please be seated. So we are, again, in the book of Numbers, in case you forgot from a few minutes ago. We're in the same spot. As I mentioned, we're going to do a baby naming, but they're not here yet, so we're going to start. And then when they get here, we'll pause and we'll celebrate, and then we'll pick up. Unless Emmy wants to discuss the Torah with us, then she can. I believe she's around 1, so it's going to be perfect. She also has an older sister, whose name is Stevie. I think that she's 3, so maybe the two of them together could help us discuss the Torah. Probably have great insights, I'm sure. So we can ask them when they get here. If I think they will. We can also ask their parents, Deborah and Alex, if they want to also help. But no, they're not here yet. But they'll get here. And I think the grandparents flew in for this too, so it should be very nice whenever they get here. I did come to the synagogue. So yeah, and you're going to go check. All right, great. There's no way they could be there. You think they're there? No, I don't think so. It's possible. I guess it's possible. All right. So we're in Bamidbar. Let's do our blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. So just to review, we were just in the book of Leviticus. If you recall, in the book of Leviticus, it was filled with rules and regulations and ritual structures. It focused, went sort of a roller coaster ride on if God, through Moses, was speaking to the whole Israelite community, or if they were speaking just to certain groups of the Israelite community, right? Mostly to the Kohanim, because a lot of the Kohanim process, the priests were ordained, and so lots of ritual. I didn't think so. So. Lots of ritual throughout the book of Leviticus, and then of course the whole sacrificial system that we also learn about also, which by the way started then and goes all the way up until the destruction of the Second Temple. So for hundreds and hundreds of years, that's the structure that all exists. And if you remember, by the way, that they were camped, so they were camped for the entirety of the book of Leviticus. So there's no movement. In the movement of the 40 years, they're really not that far out of Egypt. So that's why they had that whole training session, essentially. The whole book of Leviticus is the training session. And so now we get to the book of Bamidbar, and Bamidbar is a lot of moving, a lot of transferring, and also it's in this book that we will find out that the 40 years are kind of start. So the 40 years of the window hasn't started yet. Oh, hello. Oh, hello. That must be Emmy. Hello, Emmy. Those are good cheeks. Those are good cheeks. Those are very pinchable cheeks. I still try to get the cheeks for my kids. It's harder now because they're 12 and 15 and they fight back, but whatever. So I have to run after them. But I pin them down, and then I still win. I'm still winning. So yeah, nice, right? All right, it's good. We're having intercepting of the people to come back in. All right. Here's the rest of the gang. Hello. Hello and welcome, everyone. Hello and welcome. We're happy you're here. You're right on time, actually. This is. We just started the Torah discussion exactly where you're supposed to be, so it's perfect. So you shouldn't even sit down. You should come up. So now that you're all settled, we'll have you come up. Come up here. Stand up here with us. Hi. Welcome. Welcome.
Good morning, everybody.
Hi. This is Deborah and Alex.
Yes.
And Emmy. Oh, yes. Hi. Oh, yeah. Wasn't that fun? Yeah, that's fun. That's fun. You know, I was going to wear the same outfit, but I decided at the last second. Right when we're going to wear the same outfit?
The last second, he decided to wear the same outfit I was going to wear.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's
we're
what
also wearing blue and khaki. We called each other. Emmy, how are you doing? Great. Good. Okay. Awesome. Oh, hello. Oh, hello. Yes, look. Yes. Oh, so good.
She wants you to read a little Torah.
Yeah, we should read a little Torah. It's the beginning of a whole new book of the Torah, so this is perfect. Okay, so we're gonna do our naming. Are you ready?
Yes.
This is gonna be fabulous. We're so excited to share this moment with you.
We're excited to be here.
Yay! All right. So the first thing we do is we always invoke the name of Elijah when we start any one of these a naming, because with Elijah we hope comes connections with our people and with the people all over the world, and then we have peace. And maybe it's going to be Emmy that's going to be the person that's going to help bring about that peace. We're hoping. Maybe. And so we always invoke the presence of Elijah and the sort of the invisible chair of Elijah. This is the chair of Elijah, whose spirit is with us. May his remembrance be for good, bearing the promise of God's redemption. Brucha ba'ah b'shem Adonai. Blessed is she who enters here in God's name. And so we will move on with the actual naming in a second. Zachar olam brito, davar tziva le'elef dor, bruchat Adonai koret habrit. God remembers the covenant forever, the word commanded to 1,000 generation. We praise you. Hello, Stevie. You should be up here too with us. It's a good call. Hi.
Say hi.
Hi.
You see
All these people? See all these people? Give them a little wave. Give them a little wave. Go ahead. No? Okay. All right, good. Okay. Nice job. God remembers the covenant forever, the word commanded to 1,000 generation. We praise to you, Adonai, who establishes the covenant. All right, there's a little section you guys have to read. It's in Hebrew, but there's transliteration. You ready? Okay, the only funny part is this word. So I'm going to show you this word. See, it says lehach nisa. That's the only funny word. Lehach nisa. The rest should be pretty easy to follow along. Lehach nisa. You ready? Yeah. All right, so go ahead.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotah v'tivanu
Lehach nisa bivrit am Yisrael.
Amen.
Amen. And here's the English. You want to do the English with me? Here it is.
We praise you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvah and commands us to bring our daughter into the covenant of our people, Israel.
Yay! All right, so here we go with the official naming. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu kayemet hayalda hazot le'avia ve'le'ima va'ikra shma bi'Yisrael ahava bat zisa Moshe v'Dvora. ישמח האב יוצאת חלצה ותגל עמה בפרי ויתנה זאת הקטנה גדולה תהיה כשם שיחסה לברית כן תיכנס לתורה ולחופה ולמעשים טובים. Our God and God of our mothers and our fathers sustain this child through her parents' loving care. Let her name be known among our people Israel by the name of Ahava, Bat, Zisa, Moshe, V'Dvora. May her name be a source of joy to her and inspire her to serve our people and all humankind. May her parents rejoice in her growth of body and soul as they have brought her into the covenant. So may they with wisdom and patience lead her to the study of Torah, which is happening right now. Nice job. To a life of good deeds, and one day to a marriage worthy of God's blessing, as together we all say, Amen. One more blessing. Mishbeach avotenu v'imotenu ושברך אבותינו, אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, ואמותינו שרה, רחל ולאה, הוא יברך את הילדה הרכה הזאת, ויזכו אביה ואמה לגדלה, לחנכה ולחכמה, ויהיו ידיה וליבה לאל אמונה, ונאמר אמן.
Amen.
May God who bless our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, bless this infant. May her father and her mother have the privilege of raising her, educating her, and encouraging her to attain wisdom. May her hands and her wisdom be faithful in serving God. As together we all say, Amen. All right, you guys want to say a little something?
Sure, yeah.
All right, go ahead.
We named Emmy Ahava, which means to give love and affection, and we think she gives our family a lot of love and affection, completes our whole family, and we're so happy to be with both my parents and Deborah's parents here to celebrate this, and kind of complete this and raise two little girls in this world. So thanks everyone for being here with us tonight. Shabbat Shalom.
All right, Shabbat Shalom.
Let's give that back.
Yeah. And so, if it's okay with you, we're going to give you a little blessing, all of you.
Yes,
as we'll give you a little family blessing.
Yes.
What do you think?
We need it.
All right, great. So we're going to ask everyone to stand, please.
Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and protect you.
Yaher Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka.
May God's presence shine upon you and be gracious to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yaseim lecha shalom.
May God's presence be with you all the days of your life and grant you peace as together we all say, Amen. Simen tova, mazel tova, mazel tova, simen tov, simen tova, mazel tova, mazel tova, simen tov, simen tova, mazel tova, mazel tova, simen tov, yehelanu, 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 ulecho Yisrael, yehelanu, yehelanu, ulecho Yisrael. David melech Yisrael, chai v'kayam. David melech Yisrael, chai v'kayam. Mazel tov, mazel tov. That's for you guys. Mazel tov. We're so happy to celebrate with you. We hope to celebrate with you for many, many years. Many years. Benot mitzvah and celebrations and weddings. A long time from now. Great, okay, awesome. That's awesome. Good. Well, mazel tov, mazel tov. Yay. Everyone can be seated. Oh, those cheeks. Oh my gosh. So good, the cheeks. This is my favorite. The biting of the pulkis. Oh, the biting on the pulkis. So good. So good. So what a beautiful way to start a book of Torah as we officially welcome Emmy into the MOT. You know, now she's officially MOT. You know MOT, member of the tribe. So yeah. So now she's officially. MOT. You're welcome to hang out with us for as long as you like. If the kids can hold on, we're going to do a little Torah study. And there's food after also. So we have some food and there are cookies and stuff after. So you're welcome to hang out with us for as long as everyone can maintain their composure. That involves the adults too, by the way. So if anyone starts to cry or scream or get utzi, let us know. Yeah. Okay. So we enter into the book of Bamidbar, and I'll talk about it in a moment. We'll start kind of reading a little bit, and then I'll mention a couple of interesting angles for us to think about as we enter into the book. So, all right, here we go. We're in Numbers 1:1.
On the first day of the second month, in the second year following the exodus from the land of Egypt, the Eternal One spoke to Moses in the wilderness of Sinai in the tent of meeting, saying, "Take a census of the whole Israelite company of fighters by the clans of its ancestral houses, listing the names, every male head by head. You and Aaron shall record them by their groups from the age of 20 years up, all those in Israel who are able to bear arms. Associated with you shall be a representative of each tribe, each one the head of his ancestral house."
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much. All right, so what do we know right when we start the book? What do we know immediately?
What's the second month?
Yeah, so what's the second month? It's ER, exactly. So it's now. It's now. We're literally timed correctly because we're in ER. We're the end of ER. It's the end of ER. Yeah, it's the end of ER. It has to be the end of ER because we just had Yom Yerushalayim, so that's the 28th of ER, which was yesterday. So we know timing-wise, everything's working perfectly. One thing that we did very well is made a very solid calendar. It works very, very well. It doesn't change ever, which is why, right, when someone says the high holidays are early or late, they're not. They're the same every single year, no matter what. So, yes.
Question.
Yeah.
So it was either last week or the week before, we were talking about God gave the Jews, because they were all roaming, and then finally he said, I have land for you, and they're doing the rules with the Sabbath, with the planting and stuff. So didn't they, have a place to go? Now you're saying they're on the move again? That's what I'm not...
Yeah, so they got all the rules and explanation of how they should act when they get in the land. There's no...
So they still haven't had permanent land? They're still on the move?
No, they're full-on wandering. This is actually how far are they from Egypt? It says, right? Yeah, about 2 books, exactly. How far are they time-wise away? It's only 2 years, right? It's only 2 years out of Egypt. So how many years are they going to be wandering? 38 more, right? And so we don't even know that, by the way, until Shlach Lecha. So we don't know that until that Torah portion, because that's when the spies go out, you remember? And the spies, and it's there they're sort of punished, and they're punished with the next 38 years. So up until then, we're still in that 2-year-ish, 2.5-year-ish bracket. They're really not that far. Yeah.
Do the commentaries have anything to say about why it was necessary here to say that they were in Bami Bar Sinai? I mean, they weren't in Boca Raton. They were. Why here now did they have to say?
Yeah. Why is the Torah going out of its way to say where they are?
Right.
Nice. Great. That is exactly what I'm going to talk about. Good question. So why do you think, well done, Susie, why do you think the Torah goes, we know kind of where they are. They're in the desert. Where's Egypt? It's in the desert, really, right? And they left Egypt. It's not that far-fetched, right? They're not in Idaho, right? They're not in the South Pole, right? They're in Egypt, around Egypt, in the Egypt area, and which we know was sand, which was a big desert. So, why does the text go out of its way to mention that they're in the desert and in the desert of Sinai? This is the rabbinic, so I'm asking you the question back, and then we can talk about it. Yes? Okay, so where they are, nice. Where they are isn't pleasant, which is interesting because they're going to start. They already, right? So if you remember, we walked through the sea in the Exodus. It was this glorious moment. The sea closes. They're dancing with the timbrels. Yay, we're free. What's the first thing the Israelites do, by the way?
Start to complain.
Complain. Right? Start to complain. Right? So the complaining isn't new to them, and so we're about to, by the way, because they were camped. So you don't hear any complaining when they're camped because no one's wandering, no one's schlepping, no one's carrying anything. They're probably found enough. They found enough of a water source. You don't hear about that. So yeah, Harry.
In Exodus, they talk about the census taking place before the tabernacle.
Yes.
Well, the tabernacle's already here.
Yes.
Isn't that kind of a conflict?
So you're asking why are we counting again? Why is there a second counting?
I guess.
Yes. Okay, so great. So the second counting also exists because we've been camped. And so they want to make sure when we get up and start to move, we have to account for, as we're moving, who's with us. So probably in the window, people were born, people died, and so they have to account for all those numbers correctly. And so therefore, that's why there's a recount right now. And also there's a recount because we're starting to move, and the likelihood of that movement is going to involve in meeting up with some other cultures possibly, which is why it says, right, verse 3, what does it say in verse 3? Bear arms. So we've got to have just in the back of our heads, we want to make sure that the people who we're counting also might be able to help us if we meet up with some other peoples and get into trouble, right? So that's another reason. But why the desert still? Yes?
Maybe just to remind and re-emphasize the fact that you may be in the desert, but you're not in Egypt.
Ooh, nice. So there's a nice reflection to say this might seem similar as it was before, but it's very different, right? We are free people. You're not under tyranny of Pharaoh in Egypt. You're not slaves. We're all free, and so maybe there's that nice connection that we're still in the sand, but it's much more meaningful in the space that we are, essentially. Yeah, good. What else? Anything else that's coming to mind? All right. So the other thing is that this book is probably one of the most important books of the five, because almost everything happens in this book. In fact, there's a nice paragraph that says, this is the story about rebellion in this book. This book is going to have betrayal. It's going to have complaining. The Israelites will lack unity. They will lack a sense of purpose. Moses' leadership will be challenged constantly and consistently. And Bamidbar doesn't always point to the most flattering picture of the Israelites. But its stories are important, and it's the wilderness, the desert, that allows the people to develop into a people. Because they're nowhere. They're not getting influenced by a culture, by a city they live in or near. They are literally just by themselves wandering around, and in that unit, they find themselves, because by the end of this book, they're an Am, they're a people, even though they go through those hardship. So the wilderness is designed for that. That's the point of it. And by the way, it's believed the wilderness is there because no one can take a claim for who they are or what they're doing. No one can be like, with the influence from the Jebusites or the thisites or those ites, all the people who are living in the area. It's purely what they're doing on their own that's going to make them into a people. Yeah.
Also, isn't it the fact that this book was written at some later time, so that
What? The book was different at a different time?
and so
What?
the author
Yes.
has to remind what
Interesting. So if this is different authorship, because right there, in the documentary hypothesis that the Torah was written by 4 different sources, what you should read it. It's a great book called Who Wrote the Torah. And so it's clear, by the way, that P, which is one of the names of the authors, which stood for the priests, wrote Leviticus. So it's clear that the language and the structure of that book is unlike the structure and language of the other books. So it's true. So maybe this new author has to remind everyone what's happening to recap the situation, hypothetically. So that's why Bamidbar is so interesting, because it's going to start, you'll see, and Bamidbar itself, this particular book, dare I say, is slightly boring. I mean, this Torah portion is slightly boring, because all it's going to do is show us counts of people. But it has to do that for us to be set up for the rest of the book, because the rest of the book is not boring. The rest of the book should have like a mini-series about it, because of what's about to happen in the roller coaster of the Israelites. So, but this book has to set it up, and it sets us up with a census. And it's funny that we talked about a census. Cantor Mushik and I just talked about this. We just did a whole week of moving up ceremonies in our preschool, because next week is graduation. So first there were like the babies and the ones and the twos, and then there were the twos moving into the threes. Then there were the threes, and then the preschool is next week. Why am I telling you this? Is because we just talked about this today, that unbeknownst to what, and so I went first on Monday, and then Rabbi Kahn did Wednesday, and Cantor Munchnik did Thursday. He's the one who spoke to all the parents and stuff. And unbeknownst to us, we all said the same exact thing in each one of our little presentations to the families. And it is about this idea that this book begins with a census, and it's about being counted, and what it means to be counted and be part of a community, and how important it is and thankful we are for our preschool community, and how important it is to be part of that community that starts all the way until 6 weeks old, that you're part of CBI here at CBI, all the way until you're 120, right? So that's the beautiful part of CBI. And so each one of us said in some variation that exact same phrase, because it was for this book, because we talked about it on Monday and on Wednesday and on Thursday. And so we're just comparing notes, and we were like, oh, you said that? So did I. Yeah, we all said the same exact thing. So also this book is about a census and about being counted, not just physically for who's going to bear arms, but also the idea of now we're counting as a people, and the peoplehood is going to start to develop. Harry.
I'm going back to the question I asked. I went back to Exodus 3.
Yeah?
It says it takes place a month later. So there's not a lot of people dying in a month.
What do you mean? A month later from what?
It says in Exodus, when we're counting at 38,
Yeah.
26.
Yeah.
So there's 1 month ahead of this.
Yeah.
So there's only a month that takes place between the census.
Right.
Why counting again? Doesn't make sense.
I'm saying because they were camped. They were camped. They have to put everything back together. They have to start to move again. And so if you're going to start to move again, before you start to move through all these different parts of the countryside where you don't know who you're going to meet up with, you have to know exactly who's in each tribe, in what section they are, how they travel, how they camp. In fact, it's probably in your book. I bet Plout has is there a picture in there somewhere? There's a picture that looks like this, is my guess. There's a picture that looks kind of like this in your book. So the reason that it's different from Exodus is because Exodus is just like getting them through it, like as we start on the journey out of Egypt. And now that they've been camped, they're going to have to figure out the structure of the camp, and they're going to have to know exactly which numbers there are that you keep track of. In fact, this has more detail in it. You can't see the details, but you'll see that the tabernacle's in the center, and all of the 12 tribes are camped around it. And in each box, it tells you the number of people. So it says like the Dan tribe had 62,700. The Asher tribe had 41,500. The Naphtali tribe had 53,400. So on and so forth. And so because of that, you had to know as you traveled for the census, okay, who's with us? That's why it just becomes more intricate here. That's all, yeah.
Who decided who is where, east, west, north?
Oh, who decided the structure? God, because God's going to say it right here in the Torah. If we read through this right now, which we're not going to read all this, you can. This whole beginning part of the it's going to tell you literally how many people there are, where they should sit, where the camp's going to go, and so this image is directly from the structure of how it sits and who's near which part. It's interesting, by the way, that if you look at the photo, look at this picture, just for instance, Moses and the priests sat in one section, and then the 3 other tribes connected to Aaron, essentially, are the other parts of it. And what's interesting that why, I don't know why, it just says so, the tribes closest to Moses and the priests are Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun. Those are the ones that are closest to Moses. The ones that are furthest from Moses, by the way, are Benjamin, Manasseh, and Ephraim. It's just structurally. So it's how it's set. And this map that I have actually even has a little compass telling you which one's north, south, east, and west. You have it too? Good. Plout does it. Okay. I know Plout's good at the images. So it has all of that, and it tells you so that when they wander, there's a structure to it. Because how many people are wandering? Ish? About 1.2 million. Yeah. It's 603,550 men. So if you figure that out, and I always like to talk about this, particularly when in religious school, right? Because I always ask people, like, when's the last time you went to a football game, right? And how many people are in a football game at maximum? How many people are at a football game? 80,000, maybe 90,000 if you bring in their seats. So 90,000 people are at a football game, and imagine what you're looking at in a football game. Now try to picture 1.2 million people wandering together in the desert. So, yes.
In the first census, were only the males able to bear arms counted, or was it more general census?
Only men. Only the men were able to bear any arms, ever, forever. Do you mean each tribe?
When they did the counting,
Yes.
was it the whole population, as opposed to here, where they're counting the men able to bear arms at age 20?
Oh, you're asking if all previous forms of a census, you're asking if women were counted?
I'm asking if younger people than age 20
Oh,
were counted?
probably not. No, it was probably this age range that was the counted, because it accounted for the people who could function and do the work, and then the estimation was that they had wives and children, and don't forget there's cattle behind them too, that the estimation of what was moving was just estimated.
Well,
Yeah.
here we're concerned about people who were able to bear arms because we're going to start to move and we don't know
Who we're going to counter, exactly.
as opposed to the previous census where maybe that wasn't as much of a concern.
Correct.
So I was wondering if different not different population, but more people were counted.
Oh, because they weren't concerned with who they were going to encounter, you're saying. So possibly that you're saying the women were counted. As far as I know, it was only the men and only in that window. I believe the window changes slightly. I think it's still 20 is the low point. I think that the high point moves a little bit up and down for the eldest people. But other than that, as far as I know, all of the structures for every census are males. There's 20 and then older, but I think that the cap changes, I think. Or older. It doesn't say. It doesn't have a stopping point.
From the age of 20 years old and up.
Okay, great. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think we're seeing a typical example of a transformation from one state to another.
Absolutely.
And when you look at things in the big picture, it looks like it goes from here to there, and it just happens.
Yeah.
But now we're starting to organize first as a civilian group and put them in their place.
Yeah.
Now we're taking the next step to create a nation with developing an army.
Yeah.
So, it goes step by step, but we're seeing the transformation instead of just saying, okay, you were a slave, now you got a nation in Israel. We're making those little steps to create a full transformation.
100%. That is exactly the very well put together formulation of how to get to peoplehood. And so that is why, and it all happens in this book. It all happens in the book of Numbers. Yeah.
You all know I have a military school background.
Yeah.
And you know what's called an organizational chart, military school, and the way it breaks down is, and it's for logistics purposes and also for deploying for war. So you might have an army of 100,000 people, but 100,000 people, you have very hard sense to get them to have a sense of belonging to themselves. So that's why they break it down into battalions, all the way down into squads. Squads are 8 people. And that's what we're doing here, is we're creating the organizational chart so that we can operate as, with the idea of the synergism, that 1 + 1 equals a number greater than 2.
Yeah.
That's what, for what we do today, we got from here, as I'm reading this and understanding it. That's why I was asking the question about why it was taking place just a month later.
Uh-huh.
So we knew we had 603,000 men. Now we got to say, okay, what are we going to do with these people to keep them all together?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it starts with tribes and tribes become squads.
Yeah, it's a great example to use the military. I don't know if you remember my friend Emily was here, who was in the Navy, and she came to talk to us. And so she had to, one of the stints in the long term of the Navy is you have to just be on ships for a long period of time. So what she planned to be for about, it was like a 3-month stint, except the 3-month stint that she was on was during the beginning of COVID. And so they didn't let them off the ships, actually. So any sailor that started on that trek weren't actually allowed to leave ships because they knew that the people on the ships were safe. So if you got off and got back on, you never knew who was coming on back onto the ships. So she actually spent that whole, and they broke it up, and I'm going to get the names wrong, but the battalion, let's say, or the armada, because it was broken down into different sections, like you're saying, had to travel together, and they had to spend an entire year together. She couldn't get off the ship for a year. The ships, they were able to travel between ships, but they weren't able to land collectively as an armada or whatever the large section is. And she had to fly. They would fly her from ship to ship. The larger ships, the battleships, the carriers, she would fly from ship to ship because for her to work as a chaplain. And so, but the organization, the ridiculous level of organization that had to be there to maintain the functionality is what you're talking about. Granted, these aren't ships because they're in the desert, but this is conceptually the same thing. But by the way, you know, when they flew her from one ship to another on a helicopter, and when she got on, they called it a holy helo, because she was the they were like, oh, we're going to be safe because the chaplain's on board, so nothing's going to happen to the helicopter as they travel from ship. They have to move in the structure. Yeah, they probably maintain the ranks. They have to maintain their ranks and function within the tribe so that your tribe were the people who you connected with. Yeah, exactly.
I think it's also important to talk about the sons of the tribes who do the counting.
Yeah, exactly. It's the descendants. It's also the building of that concept that you're in this line of a connection to. And by the way, this will come up throughout the book of Numbers because it's not a surprise. We're going to get there. We've been here before. We're going to get to Korach, by the way, and Korach is going to say to Moses and to Aaron and say, we're all in the same tribe. How come you guys get the lead and I don't get the lead? Right? So this is because it's all from the same tribal conversation. So we're going to get there in a couple of weeks, and this is we did it last time. So it's not like, ooh, what? Korach? So that's coming. All right. So just to wrap up our little chat here this morning, I want us just to take a little jump to chapter 3. Chapter 3, verse 1. Chapter 3, verse 1. We'll look at this for a second, and then we'll do one more jump after that. Okay.
This is the line of Aaron and Moses at the time that the Eternal spoke with Moses on Mount Sinai. These were the names of Aaron's sons, Nadab, the firstborn, and Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. Those were the names of Aaron's sons, the anointed priests who were ordained for priesthood. But Nadab and Abihu died by the will of the Eternal when they offered alien fire before the Eternal in the wilderness of Sinai, and they left no sons. So it was Eleazar and Ithamar who served as priests in the lifetime of their father Aaron.
Okay, so here's a little recap, talking about recaps and different authorship possibility or not different authorship. But we remember the story of Nadav and Avihu, and so this is a reminder of the connection that don't be mistaken to think that there's anyone else other than Eleazar and Itamar who are left who are going to be the priests, because Nadav and Avihu died in the alien fire. And it's also, whether it's a very good book and it's one good book and it's edited very well, or the authorship is also smart and the new author also carried beautifully over from the previous information. But they also used the term alien fire, Eshzara, which is the same exact terminology that's used when it actually happens. So all good connections there. Little more, please, continuing on 5, then we're going to do one more jump.
The Eternal One spoke to Moses, saying, advance the tribe of Levi and place its men in attendance upon Aaron the priest to serve him. They shall perform duties for him and for the whole community before the tent of meeting, doing the work of the tabernacle. They shall take charge of all the furnishings of the tent of meeting, a duty on behalf of the Israelites, doing the work of the tabernacle. You shall assign the Levites to Aaron and to his sons. They are formally assigned to him from among the Israelites. You shall make Aaron and his sons responsible for observing their priestly duties, and any outsider who encroaches shall be put to death.
Okay, so how about that? Tough. Yeah. So, and what do we learn from 5 to 10? What do we learn?
Levites don't have their situation is different than the rest of them. They have no land. They work only in the tent.
Yes, so now we know, we've heard this here and there, but here is an official statement that to the Levites, that the Levites are the workhorses, essentially, to the Kohanim, and that will be, by the way, all the way through until the second temple falls. This is the structure. The Kohanim are in charge, the Levites are the schleppers, they don't own any land, so that's why there's, in the sacrificial system, there are some sacrifices that have to stay overnight and burn until they're charred and done, and there are some sacrifices that can be eaten, and who gets to eat them? The Levites, because there's no way for them to go out and gather food or for their tribe or anything, because their job is to run all the ritual stuff, essentially. And by the way, what's interesting is if you do a modern research on the line of the Kohanim and the line of the Levites, they're very different. All the research that's done on both of them, by the way, is that the Kohanim have almost 100% maintained a collective line all the way from Aaron. There's all these tests that have been done in modernity that shows that Kohen knows that they're a Kohen, passed down from their father to their son and further. Kohen, right? So you probably knew that very early on in whatever you were doing Jewishly, because it's passed down to you. And the Levites, however, particularly if you know anyone whose last name is Levi or Levi, you would think that they are a Levite, and some are not, by the way. So that's the weird part about the Levites. So anyone whose last name is Cohen is almost 100% a Cohen, but someone whose last name is Levi or Levi of some kind, either with a Y or the I, which is the same essentially, now can be 50-50, because that line wasn't as well kept as the Kohanim were. So it's interesting that the Levites are here, and they're very important, but it's like sort of hit and miss. So my teacher, my greatest teacher of all time, Richard Levy, of blessed memory, Levy, who was the scholar among scholars, the last name was Levy, and we always asked him, and he was like, I'm not. He said, I'm actually not in the line of the Levites. So this great teacher and rabbi has nothing to do with that. He was just not in the line. He's just not a Levite. So he said he's an Israelite. And I was like, oh, yeah, so am I. So I feel better about myself. So just as a side note. Lastly, we're going to turn back to one more thing, and then we're going to end. And that is, I want to go back to chapter 2. One thing in chapter 2, because I wanted to end with this. I didn't want to go through all of the so-and-so on camping on the south and the east, and you're welcome. I didn't want to have to torture Linda into reading on this tribe, on that standard division, and blah, blah, blah. But so we're just going to do chapter 2, verses 1 and 2. That's it.
The Eternal One spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, the Israelites shall camp each man with his standard under the banners of their ancestral house. They shall camp around the tent of meeting at a distance.
Okay, so, by the way, it just says at a distance. From a distance. Who sings that song? Yeah, who sings that song? I don't know. It's someone. This is for your job. All right, so it just says at a distance, and by the way, this drove the rabbis of the Mishnah and the Talmud crazy, because it doesn't say what the distance is. So why does the Torah just say at a distance? And that is perhaps the origin, literally, of the Eruv. this might be one of the origins of the Eruv and what that means to be far from something or measure something. And eventually it turns into 2,000 cubits, which was the idea of the measure of the spacing, 2,000 cubits. You remember a cubit? A cubit is from your fist to your elbow. So that's a cubit. That's by the way how you put your mezuzah on your how you traditionally put your mezuzah on your door. Is you put your fist up to the lintel of the doorpost, and wherever your elbow is, that's where mezuzah goes traditionally. If your mezuzah isn't there right now, it's fine. But don't go home and be like, the rabbi said we would take the mezuzah off the door. And definitely don't do it on Shabbat. So definitely don't play with the mezuzah on Shabbat. But I just wanted to say that even in the highly structural thing in Numbers, it's also showing us probably the origins of how distancing is going to work. Because it just says at a distance, which is so annoying. It doesn't say how much of a distance. Everything is so specific, except for here, particularly in this Torah portion. So, yeah. All right. Is it Bette Midler? It might be Bette Midler. What? Is it Bette Midler? Yes. Yeah. All right. Good. Nice job. You get to go. Okay. Whew. It's good. All right. So I just wanted to give us a sense of the census, a sense of the numbers, a sense of the complexity we're about to fall into, because it's going to get more and more complex in this book. Like I said, it's going to have rebellion and betrayal and complaining, and Moses will be pushed to his limit. And we know that Aaron will die in this book. We know that Miriam's going to die in this book. So there's a lot of different challenging parts for the ride for the Israelites that are going to go through as we continue in the book of Numbers. So I hope you have lots of water for our journey as we move into the desert together. I planned that ending. I was thinking about it. I planned it. What do you think? I tried. All right. Thanks. Cantor Mashik liked it a lot because he only rolled his eyes slightly back into his head, so that was good. Thanks. Ron chuckled, so thanks, Ron. So Ron gets oneg, which is nice. So, all right. With the Torah still in front of us, let's think of those in our community who are in need of healing, a physical, emotional, or a spiritual healing. If there's someone that you're thinking of and you wish to share their name, please share their name at this time. Anyone on?
Greg and Sherry.
Okay. Anyone on the Zoom want to share names? משבח אבותינו ואמותינו אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, שרה, רבקה, רחל ולאה, הוא יברך את החולים, הקדוש ברוך הוא ימלא רחמים עליהם, להחלימם ולהפותם ולהחזיקם, וישלח להם מהרה רפואה שלמה מן השמיים, רפואת הנפש ורפואת הגוף, השתה בגלה זמן קריב, ונאמר אמן. And the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Becca, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal those who are ill. May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion, for their health be restored, and their strength be revived. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit, as together we say, Amen. we are going to return the Torah to the Ark, 256, and together we stand.
Yehallelu et Shem Adonai ki niskav shemo levado hodo al eretz v'shamayim vayarem keren le'amo tehila lechol chasidam livnei Yisrael am kerovo. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Eitz chaim hi lama chazikim ba v'tzomcheha me'usar deracheha darchei noam v'chol netioteha shalom hashivenu Adonai elecha menashuva haresh haresh yameinu Chadesh Yameinu Kekedem.
Announcements for this coming week. Thursday, well, Rabbi Silvers has his last lunch and learn. That's on Wednesday. So that's the first thing, right? That's first. Thursday night is Erev Shavuot. Please come to Erev Shavuot. It's going to be a lovely service, not just regular service, but also our confirmation. So we're going to inviting our confirmands to join us and help lead the service. They're going to share some words with us. So please come to that service. Also, our busy installation will be that night. That means we'll be installing. We installed our new our big board last night at services. But at Erev Shavuot, we'll be installing our youth board. So that'll be really exciting. So a lot of kids and a lot of families, so please come. What's that? B'nai Israel Senior Youth. Yeah, Senior Youth. Yeah, that's our high school kids. So that'll be on the same, all in the same service. That's Thursday night. Friday morning is Shavuot morning, and it's going to be in this room. And it's going to be at 10 a.m., and that's the service, the festival service, including Yisker. So that's going to be 10 o'clock Friday morning. Friday night is going to be our regular service, but we're inviting Anna Kislansky, who is the CEO of the IMPJ, the Israel Movement for Progressive Judaism. It's sort of like the Reform movement in Israel. And so she'll be here, and she'll be on the Bima, and she'll share some words from the Bima on that Friday night. So there's a lot coming up. And then that following week is the adult Benot Mitzvah. That's on June 3rd. That's going to be really lovely. So please come to that service. That's at 10 a.m. Following this service. And then starting on the 9th, just so you know, starting on the 9th, which is a Friday, I think, services are going to move in here, same time, Friday night. It's a Friday night, 6:30 service, but we're leaving the sanctuary. We're giving the sanctuary a breather for the summer, so we're going to switch into here, and then this service will be at 9, starting on the 10th. You got all that? Yeah, everyone gets an extra half an hour of sleep. Woo! So, yes. So that's all the upcoming stuff that I can remember offhand. There's also going to be, by the way, throughout the summer, a bunch of lunch and learns. So hope you'll join us, and hope if you're in town, come and hang out with us. It's not. We're calling them. It's our coffee and conversations. That's what we're doing. So please join us for that. But we'll give you all the dates for that when they're coming up. I think that's all. There's a lot of stuff still for us to do, for us to hang out. So come. What?
Minion, the
That's exactly how we're doing it, yes. We're going to design it that way, because it's still 8:30 on the 3rd, so it's going to be 8:30 and be done to go into the adult service. That is exactly how we designed it, yeah. Yes. Good question. Yes. We are going to begin to conclude our service. Aleinu can be found on page 282.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים,
הקדוש ברוך הוא.
ונאמר,
והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא.
ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני
אחד.
ושמו
אחד. We transition our thoughts now to Kaddish Yatom, to Mourner's Kaddish. In the period of Shiva, the immediate 7-day mourning period, we think of Chester Weinstein. In Shloshim, the immediate 30-day mourning period, we think of Donald Stone. And our yortzais that occur for us this week: Victoria Deer, Myron Kahn, David Dobrin, Sadie Z. Dubov, Gail Fearing, David Osofsky, Riva Schreiber, Marilyn K. Stein, Henry Herskowitz, Ira Goldsmith, Joby Levine, Anna Gershon, Margot Engel. To those names, we had any name you'd like to add at this time. Kaddish Yatom, Mourner's Kaddish 294. Yitkadal v'yikadash me'rabah, ve'almad yivrach yiruteh, ve'amlich malchuteh, v'chayechon v'yomechon, v'chaye dechor beit Yisrael, ba'gala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehe shmei rabah mavorach le'olam ulmei olmaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ah v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadav v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei l'kodesha brichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran v'alma v'imru amen. Yeshlomo Rabba min Shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Zeh shalom b'momav, huyas aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, as together we say, amen. Please be seated. We conclude our service this morning with
Adon Olam,
Adon Olam.
page 321. Adon Olam Hashem alach b'terem kol yitzion yivra leid nasa
Bechefso kol
Hazai melech shemo nikra Hazai melech shemo nikra ve'acharei kichlot hakol levado yimloch nora ve'hu haya ve'hu hoveh ve'hu yeh b'tifara ve'hu yeh b'tifara ve'hu echad ve'yein sheni lehamshilo lehachbira b'li reshit v'li tachlit v'lo ha'oz v'hamisra v'lo ha'oz v'hamisra v'hu eli v'chai go'ali v'tzur chevli v'etzara v'hu nisi u'mahanos li menat kosi b'yom mekra menat kosi b'yom mekra b'yado afkid ruchi b'eit ishan ve'aira ve'im ruchi geviati Adonai li ve'lo ira Adonai li ve'lo ira
Adonai oz ramo yiten, Adonai varech et amo v'shalom. May God give strength unto our people, continue to bless us with hope and strength and love and peace. Shabbat shalom, everybody. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.